So it's a massive piece of legislation, GDPR, General Data Protection Regulation. This officially goes into effect on Friday. Basically, every company that does business in the EU has to comply. So what the general purpose of GDPR is to provide consumers with more rights over their personal data. This has been a hot topic issue lately. So for example, all those emails you've been getting about email lists, do you want to opt in? Consumers now have to give consent to say, I do want to specifically be targeted by this company. The problem is that this has been a challenge for a lot of companies to comply. It's a sweeping set of rules, and a lot of companies don't actually know where personal data is within their systems. So they've had to really sift through this, and if they don't comply, they do face some serious fines.
I think for our viewers, it might be helpful to point out that the Germans had a big role in this legislation. You think, who likes rules in Europe? Well, it's actually the Germans, and they're quite instrumental in this fairly significant shift in data protection, far different from what the Americans have, which is a light touch approach.
Absolutely, and the idea behind GDPR is actually that this is something that could be adopted in more countries beyond Europe. So we actually spoke with the head of GDPR compliance at a data company. He told us about some of the challenges with rolling this out.
For a consumer, it's brilliant because it means that you are having a much greater say in what is done with your data. For a company, it means that you need to understand what you're doing with personal data, why you're doing it, and you need to be a bit more careful about it.
So as we mentioned, some serious fines for companies if they aren't able to comply here, up to 4% of global annual turnover. So for a Facebook, that can be over $1 billion or up to 20 million euros, so whichever fine is bigger. So experts have told us there are some teeth to this regulation. We'll have to see how quickly those fines come around come Friday.
I don't know about you, but I'm getting all sorts of emails from people I didn't even know there was on their contact list asking, do I still want to be in contact?
What happens if we ignore all those emails? Because most of our audience, I bet you most of you have done what I've done. Is you started answering a couple, then you got bored, then you didn't answer any. So what happens?
You are then not opting in. If you choose to ignore it and say delete, you're basically not going to receive any more.
And a second very quick question. When I get an app update on either, I should be asking Arjun this as well, but when I get an app update on either iOS or Android as well, will that automatically include me though, or will this be separate from, because I'm wondering if they get a backdoor in through the app update, because I haven't read the terms on the app update and I just automatically press yes.
My understanding is you have to read the terms every time, so even if it's a third party, they have to specifically put in the terms what that third party is if they're going to be giving the data. So it's a pretty deliberate.
Changes, though, because I saw one on a newspaper on the weekend, effectively saying if you want to read our newspaper, then you must consent to our privacy policy, and you just want to read the article, so you just press click, which takes you through. So I wonder whether it impacts some of the big companies still that are going to be trawling through your data through a back door effectively because you want to have access to what they're serving up.
I think some of the companies have actually expressed issues over the fact that we are being inundated with this right now, and that as a result, consumers aren't really understanding what some of these changes are. They're just saying, okay, fine, I'll go ahead since I want to move forward with my email or my article. So we'll have to see if that has an effect or not.
Hey everybody, it's Hadley Gamble from our new CNBC Middle East Bureau in Abu Dhabi. Thanks for stopping by. Now to watch more, you can try one of the videos that just popped up on your screen. And don't forget to subscribe.